Yeah.
If you backspace now.
Is it editing?
No, it's kind of stuff.
Okay, so that might be because it's closed and he's not allowed to do that right now.
Oh,
Okay.
I can reply once I clicked on it. Is that?
Go ahead. Well, it doesn't matter what it says.
He's thinking about that.
Just trying to write a joke over there. While he's writing that, I want to show you guys a feature that I think the English teachers would go nuts for. I'm going to close Dave's. Well, actually, I'm going to leave that for now.
You gotta read it because it's posting it.
I know. It's still open. I'm just looking someplace else.
Good. No, I just-
Yeah, and there's Dave's. The author of this paragraph needs remediation. I agree. So there's Dave's comment back to me. All right. So here's one that I haven't actually finished grading yet. For English teachers, this button right here, this is a sucky assignment. Hey, good job. This button right here is amazing. Right here, you're going to click mode as a teacher, and you would click suggesting. So now, instead of saying, adding their comments, I'm going to start typing. We were going camping in the mountains on Saturday. Whoops. I didn't mean to hit that button. There we go. On Saturday, I can't type. On Saturday, I played something. Yesterday. So it shows these suggestions to the student, and then the student can look at that, and they can be like, oh, I kind of like that better. I agree with that. And they can click the little checkbox, and that makes the change. Or they could say, you know what, Fairchild doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm going to keep that.
All I have to do is click a button and it's all fixed.
Yeah?
You know what I mean? I don't know that that's a good thing.
Well, you don't have to use it, but what you could say is here you could say, this needs work, and then they could see where you've crossed something out or added something.
Or you could write, put, or use past tense. Use what? Participle or past tense or try it, Jared.
Right.
Does that keep a record of those suggestions? as
Yes, it does. And this is really cool. You guys see the file button right here? If I click on file, I can say see revision history. Okay?
Oh, cool.
Now if I click on that, it shows when it was created and the edits that were made to it. And I can see more detailed. And now I can see every time that anything has happened to this document, I can click on it and see what did the document look like at that time. So you can track a student's progress. Like, I know I was talking to Eric, and he said, boy, I'd really like to be able to see how the students are, how did you say it?
The process from rough draft to final draft.
Right.
There's a thing on the rubric where they have to be able to demonstrate like dedicated revision. And it was hard because there wasn't any record last year. So he said English teachers would go crazy about it. I did indeed go crazy about it, but that was like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
it is really cool. It's super helpful.
Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay.
What's your help number?
I can't. I don't know the school phone number. I was joking. I was going to make a joke, but nobody dials it. Or
What's
I
your
don't dial it.
extension, Fairchild?
2121.
There's your why.
Oh, your Y came up.
Oh, thanks. Why me? All right. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys, unless anybody has any questions. Okay. In my drive, there's where's my Google Classroom thing? G-Class example. When you guys make a class, it's going to make a folder here in your Google Drive called Classroom. And it's going to put everything from the students there. Everything. Okay? So if I open up my classroom, I'm going to look at this class, because you all handed in an assignment. Okay? It has a templates do not edit. I never even look in there. But it'll also have a folder for every assignment that you've given that class. And in that folder will be everybody's assignment. Okay? Now, the next part that I'm going to show you is kind of advanced. Okay? but it talks you through the process if you're ever doing it on your own. And I just want to show this to you guys. I'm going to make a spreadsheet, okay? And I'm just showing you. You don't have to do it with me because it would take too long. If you need help with this, 2121 is my number, okay? So I'm going to name this spreadsheet G-class. What was the thing? The assignment was called test, right? Test. And then I'm going to call it Doctopus. And there's a reason for that. Okay? Now, under Google Drive, they have a button called add-ons. And for add-ons, there's Google Drive stuff is not as powerful as Microsoft Office stuff. But they get around that by letting other people make stuff for them. And those things are called add-ons. Now, this is a third-party thing. If I click on add-ons, I'm going to go, you would click on like get add-ons and do a search for Doctopus and all that stuff. And if you need help with that, I can show you that. But I'm just going to show you how you can use this. So I already have Doctopus ready. And I'm going to hit launch. And it's going to think for a second. It's going to bring it up. And this is how you can add rubrics to make grading things that you've done on here really, really easy. Okay? So it works for a couple minutes, and then it's going to pop up. Yeah, there we go. So over here, I'm going to select a roster, and I'm going to say ingest Google Classroom assignment. So I click on that, and it thinks for a second. It's looking at all my Google Classroom stuff. Okay? And I'm going to select my class. In this case, it's the G-class example. And then it's going to ask me to pick an assignment. I'm going to pick my test assignment. Okay? And it thinks for a second, and it's going to say that you have so many that are turned in and so many that are not turned in. Which actually, I'm glad that you never turned yours in. That makes things a little, so that people can see what it looks like. Way to slack, Anita. All right, so it says here, I found 11 turned in files for this assignment and 4 not yet turned in. I always say only ingest files that are turned in. And then when you open up this file in the future, you can have it grab the ones that kids have put in since then. So then I click the big blue button. There's a lot of big blue buttons in this. So this is going through and thinking for a second, and what it's doing is it's going out to all of your assignments and pulling all of them into a spreadsheet for me. Okay? And that would be kind of cool, but we have Google Classroom to look through stuff. But there's things that we can do now that they're in the spreadsheet that get really crazy. So I'm going to add a Goobric, okay, which is another word for a rubric. What's that?
Said you're way too advanced for me.
I'm going too fast?
No, keep going.
What?
I said you're too advanced.
Oh,
for
too
me.
advanced. No, this is really easy. If you just do it, the program will talk you through it. Like I did it a couple days ago. So now I'm going to pick my rubric. So I made a rubric for that assignment that you guys did. And it's called G-class rubric or something. Yeah. I didn't actually want to call it rubric because I didn't want it to keep coming up when I look for my rubrics in my other classes. So now I've attached a rubric to it. And what that does is it allows me to go through, and when I grade it, I can click on the rubric what you've done. So, oh, this kid got a 4 on this, and a 3 on this, and a 2 on this. Give me the grade. And it gives you the grade at the end. So it thinks for a second. It's going through everybody's assignment and adding a rubric to it. And now it's added it. And I don't need this anymore. So now I have a link to everybody's assignment. I'm going to open up Kim's. It's got a little link. I'm going to click on the link. And do you guys see the little eye up here? If I click on this eye, it's going to bring up the rubric that I gave to this assignment. So now I can say, well, on this, they did really great on that, not so awesome on that, awesome there, or not great there, awesome there, and boy, this was terrible. My mouse is not working. There we go. And then when I'm done, I click submit, and it takes that rubric that I've just filled in, and it puts it at the bottom of their document. So it takes that, and if we look at when it's done, if you click the next button, it'll automatically open up the next kid's assignment. Okay? So I'm going to close that because I don't need to do the next kid's assignment. And I'm going to scroll down. And they can see this is their rubric, and this is what they got for each thing. And if I go in and if Jimmy goes and fixes all of these things, I can then go in, use the rubric again, regrade it, and it'll take the next rubric and paste it underneath that one. Okay? Now, then, the final thing that I do,
You
And-
created your rubric, right, on a spreadsheet?
yeah, it's just in a spreadsheet. And anybody that needs help with this, I'll definitely help you. It takes all of those grades and it puts it in the spreadsheet for me. So then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little formula. How many things do I have? 5 things, and each were worth 4 points. So 5 times 4 is 20. So I'm going to say, all right, and this part you would probably need a little help with unless you've ever used a spreadsheet before. But I'm making a spreadsheet. It's going to grade it for me. So I want it to add these 4 numbers together. And I'm going to divide it by 20 because that's how many the rubric was worth. And I'm going to multiply that by 100 to get a percent. So you got a 65. So then I just drag that down.
Yeah.
Everybody has that rubric. So now if I go and do the next kid's thing, I open it up, I go through and I grade it. It finds the rubric. I hit save and paste into doc, and if I go back over here, I'm just going to wait until it says it's saved. The next kid automatically did that for them. They got a 75. So then I can easily put that information into my grade book. And if you go back and grade it again, it updates this so that it has the most recent grade that you've given that student on this in there. So I know
On that section, you can write comments in there and they would,
earlier you missed it. We were where's one?
sorry, don't call it, it's on the end of
The comments are all right on the document.
in the rubric though, there's a
Oh,
comment section
yeah.
at the bottom.
I don't use that because if I do, and I'll just grade this one again. Where's my mouse? There it is. If I use that comment thing, it makes the spreadsheet hard to read. So I'm going to say, well, she actually made that one worse. What did you do there? Yeah, it puts a big comment in the spreadsheet. So now if I scroll down, there's their first rubric. This was their first thing that they got. And then there's another rating from me. It has the new grading on it, and it has a comment at the end. And then if I go to the spreadsheet, oh, I probably need to refresh it. Remember, what's the rule? Refresh. All right. So then under the comments it has what did you do there. It's automatically put in for you. Okay? And if your comments, if you hit enter in your comments and like they get big, then your spreadsheet gets hard to read. So I don't put comments there. I always put them on the side. Eric.
Bill, how difficult would it be for, like, say a kid writes a rough draft and their peer editor is Karen Blevins. For them to post, so like Karen through her Google Classroom, for her to be able to see that rough draft and Karen to make comments as if that was her assignment and then turn it in. If I could make a rubric for like a peer editing rubric and have it attached like that, like so the actual assignment would be someone else's rough draft. But is that too many steps? Would that start to become counterproductive? Maybe?
I think that the best way to handle that would be to create a document and then have one kid edit it. And then when they're done, they could click the share button. Have you done that before in your class? Mm-hmm. So they click the share button, they add another kid to it. Then they've shared it with them. And then you would make a rubric just like I had, and you would attach it to it after it's already been made. And then the second kid number 2, goes in and does whatever edits that they're supposed to do. And then you can look at you could grade it based on the comments that they've made. And I don't see any, I don't think that even adds another step except for the sharing part, which your students already know how to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.